So in this presentation, I'm not going to talk about sort of Hinduism in general. Hinduism's approximately 3,000 years old. There's many different theological and philosophical perspectives. So I'll say some general things about Hinduism, which are also true about Buddhism and Jainism and Sikhism, the other major religions of India. But for the most part, I'm going to talk about a specific Hindu school called Gaudiya Vaishnavism. And this is a monotheistic form of Hinduism. It's mainly in North India, although it has spread, and it's a global religion at this point. It's a devotional religion, and it's focused on the worship of Krishna, Lord Krishna. Let me start with a little bit about the word faith. So the word faith in the Hindu tradition is mainly composed of texts in the Sanskrit language. And so the relevant Sanskrit word for faith is probably Shraddha. And if we look at the way the word Shraddha is used in the Bhagavad Gita, which is a very important Hindu text, then it doesn't actually just mean religious faith. The way the word gets used is it applies to any type of belief that you might have. It applies to beliefs about what you wear, what you eat, what kind of language you use, how you speak, your conceptions about knowledge, right and wrong. The Bhagavad Gita goes through a whole range of topics, and always looking at this issue of faith or conviction or trust. So when we talk about faith or Shraddha in the Hindu text, we're not talking about something that's unique and distinct to religion. Rather, it applies to all spheres of human life. And the Bhagavad Gita goes on to sort of analyze the different qualities or features of faith. And there's a verse that I think is important to read here. So this is from the 17th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. The Supreme Lord God, Krishna, said, "Faith or conviction, Shraddha, is born of one's nature. Learn this. For the embodied beings, conviction or faith is of three types: good, passionate, or ignorant." The point that's brought out here is that the Bhagavad Gita is analyzing this concept of conviction or trust or faith in terms of its quality, and it applies to one's psychology, emotional disposition, intellectual preferences, aesthetic preferences, and physical characteristics. In commenting on this verse, there is a great Vaishnava theologian named Ramanuja in the 12th century. And he argued that conviction or faith is a feature of the soul. It's a feature of the human mind, the human psyche. So if you're alive, you have faith, you have conviction. It's the way we think, it's the way we operate. He also argued that faith is sort of born out of your taste. If you've done something in the past, and this might be in the past in this life, or even in a previous life, as a reincarnation view of things. If you've done something in the past and you enjoyed it, you got a taste for it, then that leads to a faith or a conviction that thing is good and should be done again. And again, these tastes can be lower tastes like anger and aggression, or higher tastes like enlightenment and seeing the unity of things. So the reason I'm talking about this is to giving a sort of complex picture of faith, is to highlight the fact that when we talk about conviction, we're talking about a human characteristic. It's not something that's necessarily religious, although religious faith is discussed in this context. Another reason is that for the Bhagavad Gita, simply becoming religious or believing something doesn't necessarily change your faith. Rather, to change your faith or conviction, because it's networked into all these other features of your life, your intellectual disposition, psychological disposition, so you have to change all of that to change your faith or conviction. Faith is not simply a matter of belief. Therefore, many people talk about Hinduism as focusing more on orthopraxy, sort of what you do, rather than orthodoxy or belief. Nevertheless, the Hindu texts, especially like the Bhagavad Gita, does talk about what are the higher and best forms of faith. But again, they're more focused on sort of what you do. So here's another verse that describes the highest type of faith. This is from the 9th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. Be mindful of me, this is be mindful of me as God, with love offered to me. Sacrifice for me, act out of reverence for me. You shall come to me, thus having absorbed yourself in yoga with me as the supreme goal. So this verse is meant to demonstrate a very devotional attitude that someone could have towards God, of focusing the mind exclusively on God, sacrificing for God, and in this way you achieve everything that's desirable in life.